You can't move forward without a pulse. When the heart of what drives you stops beating, it's time to go and find a new rhythm. Welcome back to the Samantha Show. I'm your host, Samantha. You can call me Sam, just don't call me Sammy. You know, I'm going to talk about it. So I recently shared that I am officially departing from CycleBar, meaning although my studio closed, I was still working for CycleBar Corporate on the education team, helping train onboard instructors around the country. I have given up that role, so no longer affiliated working with CycleBar at all in any capacity. Man, I never thought I'd see the day. But I think the fact that I can say this without getting emotional is a big indicator of where I'm at in my life now and how at peace I am with this decision that I made on my own to move forward and officially end that chapter with CycleBar. A couple years ago, I was talking to a former coworker, and she was talking to me on the education team. She's like, you know, this is kind of a side gig for me. Like, this isn't my end all be all. And I said, this is mine. I was like, I'm going to be the president of CycleBar one day. Like, that's my goal. And that was my vision for a very long time. I have been in love with this brand since the day it showed up in my life. And I really, truly believed that I was just going to ride it all the way to the top and just stay with them as long as I could until I reached that top position and just make CycleBar, you know, the best ever and be a part of that. And it's been a really, really great 7 years. A really, really awesome 7 years. Like, oh my God, every time I would board a plane to get to fly anywhere in the country and train and teach a cycling class to a bunch of riders and train instructors and teach to a sold out room of instructors. Like, every time I sat on that plane and it would go down the runway, I would say thank you. I would say thank you to God. Thank you that this is my job. Thank you that I get to do this. Thank you that I get to travel around the country and do this. Like, how freaking fun is this job? It's so, so fun. And it is, and it was, and amazing in so many ways. And there are just so many awesome memories with that. But admittedly, ever since my studio closed, it's been different for me. And I've tried really, really hard to hang on. I didn't want to give it up. I didn't want to let go. I didn't want to accept that it's time for me to move on. And so I sat in that place of denial for several months. But what I found was that when my studio closed, the pulse stopped, the beat stopped. And I had these moments the last couple months where I had great opportunities to guest teach places. I taught this class at CycleBar Kyle about a month ago that was top 3 best classes ever. And when I say best class, I mean from the energy, from the riders that showed up, from the execution, like everything about it was so epic and big. And after I taught that class and I came back to Ohio, and I kind of realized that as amazing as that moment was, those moments give me a high. Like it just does. It's like a dopamine release, adrenaline. It's like addicting. Like I'm like, I want to feel that. I want to have that feeling again. What I realize is it's going to be harder and harder and harder for me to have those moments, those feelings that I get from CycleBar that I literally am like addicted to. I realized I wasn't going to have very much of, if ever, really. I think it was such an anomaly in the past year for me. And so knowing that and realizing that there was something emotional that I was holding on to, something that I didn't want to let go of, something that I was searching for that wasn't going to come back for me in this experience. Knowing that, I realized that to move forward fully in my life, to set down a new path, to start a new beginning, I had to fully let go. And so it wasn't an easy decision to get here. I think too, I set big goals to become a senior master instructor for CycleBar. And I'm telling you, if you have not listened to the episode, if you quit when you're told no, you need to go listen to that episode. That really explains my journey with CycleBar, going from a non-passing audition to a master instructor title. But even beyond that story, I made it to a senior master instructor title, which is as high as you can go on the instructor totem pole besides being like a full-time employee, which in the education team, we only have like 2 or 3. It's been hard for me to let go of that. I was married to the title because I worked so damn hard to get that title. I put it on a very high pedestal, and I still do because I know how hard I had to work to get it. I didn't want to let that go. So I've been holding on to this thing. This hope, this longing for the past, this longing for CycleBar 2019, CycleBar 2021, maybe CycleBar 2022. But things have just been changing as they do in any business, in any brand, and as things evolve. And the thing that I love so much, teaching, is gone for me because my studio closed. You can go back and listen to that episode. I think it's called When Trust the Doors That Close. Very, very emotional episode. But I realized, like, ever since then, it's just not going to be what it once was for me. And I also realized that my potential to move up within the company beyond where I was probably very, very limited at best. So I had to come to this like hard realization, like, Samantha, we declutter. I'm decluttering my life. Man, like 2 weeks ago, I went on this massive cleaned out my closet. Like, when I tell you, like, I organized my sweatshirts, all these things, I organized my pants, all this different stuff. And then I like did all my drawers, and then I did like my makeup drawers, and then we redid Gracie's room. And like, I'm decluttering my life, figuratively, literally, in all the ways. And what I realize is I have a lot of little things going on in my life, right? I'm very open about my little gigs and stuff. Taylor and I talked about this on a podcast episode recently. And I like having my little projects and my little gigs. But what I'm finding is that when you take on too much, then nothing really gets your full attention. And I'm an all-in kind of person. I'm passionate, and I like to do well at the things that I'm going to do. And what I realized is that I needed to clean things up a little bit in my life, clean out my closet, and then also clean up, like, what am I doing with my time, and where am I spending my time, and what's the most effective and important. And when I sat down and I kind of looked at every little thing I have going on, right? Pageantry, CycleBar, podcast. I was taking on a trivia gig, started to dabble in working with Joe's business, like all these little things, getting into teaching Shred 415, like so many little things that I was like, some of it's got to go. There's just not enough hours in the day. I need to focus on just a couple things in my life, but that meant I had to get rid of some things in my life that were no longer serving me. Unfortunately, CycleBar was one of those things. It was hard to come to that realization. And I've had some emotional moments since deciding that this is the end for me. But also, too, you know, when you're like, you kind of get to the point, it's like, I'm ready to be done. Like, I'm ready. Every time I would be so lucky to sub a class or teach a class, every time I would do that in my mind, I'd be like, was this the last one? Was this the last one? Was this the last one? It's just like a dragging on feeling where I'm just like, it needs to be done, Samantha. You need to be done. You need to move on. There are other things in your life, new opportunities in front of you that you really need to move forward with. One being the biggest one that I talked about just last week with Joe. I'm going to start working more with my husband, Joe, his dad, at the Appliance Gallery, and really work with them. We joked that there wasn't like a ton of direction when I came in, but the truth is this business is starting to become more of Joe's. He's partial owner, eventually full owner, which means it'll be my business too. We'll share that together. So, helping to grow that business, helping to become the face of that business and make sure everybody in Dayton knows the appliance gallery, that's where they go to get those high-end nice appliances, Bosch, Wolf, Sub-Zero, Thermador. I don't know. I'm just spitting names out that I hear my husband say. I don't really know all the things yet. I'm learning, but I want to be a part of that. Like, that's going to be ours. So it's time for me to focus on that and to help and to bring my SAM expertise, marketing, customer relationship, like all these different things, community outreach, bring that aspect to the business and things that I, can really do and help be a part of the business. So I want to give more time and attention to that. I also am starting a new fitness modality. Like, it's out there. I haven't put up one special, official announcement on social media, but I'm training to teach, to become an instructor at Shred 415. And one thing that is very true about me is that when I'm with a brand or I'm with a company or I'm an employee, I'm an incredibly loyal employee. I would say that's the benefit of having me work for you. I am reliable as hell, and I'm incredibly loyal to those that I work for. And so knowing that I'm getting into teaching this new brand, new modality, not a new brand, but this new brand for me, new modality, these boot camp classes, I didn't want there to be confusion in our CycleBar community about, I thought she was a CycleBar senior master instructor, but all she's posting about is Shred because I'm teaching classes at Shred. I'm not teaching classes at CycleBar. I just watch auditions or whatever it is that I'm doing. And I didn't want people to talk about where my loyalty lies. I didn't want people to get confused. Does she work for CycleBar? Does she not? I'm not really sure what she's doing. I just didn't want any of that. I want to be able to give my whole heart to Shred 415 now. I want to give my whole heart to the appliance gallery. And then I want to give my whole heart to my passion projects, which is the podcast, some pageantry stuff, any other little thing that I have going on. And so I had to make the change. I had to officially close that CycleBar chapter. And I put together a little reel for Instagram, and stuff to make my announcement. And it allowed me to spend time with a lot of really, really freaking great memories with CycleBar. And man, was it fun. Man, was it fun working for CycleBar. I had not like in a pessimistic way, but it was maybe a year ago. I remember thinking, I don't know if it was like after a class that I taught or what, but I remember thinking, damn, life is good. Like, that was the thought. Like, my job is freaking awesome. I have the best job in the whole world. And it's so fun. My cup is so full. My family life is good. Like, all these things. And I remember a voice in my head saying, this won't be forever, so you better fucking enjoy it. I remember that feeling. And I don't want to say it was too good to be true, right? I don't want to say that. But for some reason, I just knew that work life, that experience, like, it was like, girl, soak it in, baby. Because it ain't always going to be like this. And I did. And so I soaked it in. And I really feel like my time with CycleBar, I made the absolute most of it in any way that I could. As a corporate employee, I really tried to say yes to any work or any project that I could take on. I wanted to be a part. I wanted to take the work on. I wanted to do that. I loved the work. When I first got hired on as a master instructor, in 2019, everything was on the road. And then the pandemic hit and everything went virtual. And, we had some people on the team that they didn't want to do virtual, right? They worked in the fitness industry. They weren't interested in sitting on a computer and doing that kind of work. I didn't mind it. I really did not mind it. I didn't mind it all the way up until I resigned. I still was fine. I loved the flexibility I had, that I could do my work at any time of day as long as I got it done, and loved connecting with people on social media and connecting with our trainees virtually. And I thought that worked great for me. That was my personality. I think I do a fine job at that. So, I loved every single piece of that job. I really, really, really did. And, but the truth is, it's hard to be a trainer when you're not practicing the thing that you're training on. And I could ride my bike in the basement and things like that, but I just really started to feel super disconnected without teaching. And just as time passed and as time went on, that flame in my heart and my soul, like, just got dimmer and dimmer and dimmer. Still not without sadness or longing for the past, but just realizing that it's time to move on. But I just had so much fun, man. We had my first camp as a senior master instructor was at CycleBar Liberty Township with my coworker, mentor, good friend, Donna Cinnamano. We co-hosted that together. Donna and I co-hosted several camps together. We did CycleBar, we did Camp Liberty Township, we did Camp Miami, CycleBar Camp Miami, we did CycleBar Camp St. Charles together. Did we do another one? I feel like there was one more in there, but yeah, love hosting camp with Donna. So CycleBar Camp, for if you're not a CycleBar instructor, although I feel like everybody who listens to this podcast is, but if you're not, it is when instructors fly into a specific location. About 50 instructors fly in, and we get to do a training camp for like 2 days, and we get to have a great time together and really like level up our instructors and things like that. So it's like really, really fun, great energy, emotions, uplifting, inspirations, just all of the good stuff. A lot of fun opportunities with that. I loved every time I got to travel and help onboard and train at a new studios that are opening. So just so much goodness to take from the last 7 years. I learned a lot too. I really did. I think one of the biggest things that I learned in my role is how to give feedback. I know that sounds like an interesting skill set to learn. Learned the hard way a couple of times where feedback didn't land correctly, and noting, don't give feedback in that way. Adjust, learn, grow. But over the course of 5 years on the education team, really learning how to coach people and to help them grow and get better. I think that I can take that skill set with me beyond just even the fitness world and realm. I learned a lot about communication via email, tone in the same sense with coaching and feedback and things like that. So I got really comfortable at hosting Zoom calls, hosting trainings, all of the above. CycleBar taught me how to speak on a microphone. They really did. Like my vocal inflection, vocal control, breath control, all these little nuggets of amazingness that I get to take with me in the next chapter of my life. Something else that I realized is that working for CycleBar and not being able to teach at any of the studios in my area. There's one studio really close to me that just not interested in having me come teach. There's another studio, a couple studios not too far. They wanted me to sign a non-compete when I was trying to be onboarded. I wasn't interested in that. That was a personal preference of mine, not interested in signing that because as a fitness professional, I want to be able to teach classes and have the freedom to do so where I need to, when I need to. So, it really kind of ended up that if I'm going to be with CycleBar, there's no way I can teach cycling because there are no studios in my area that I can teach at. So in order for me to ever even consider teaching cycling again, I can't be with CycleBar because I can't work for CycleBar corporate and then go teach at another gym or another brand. And I'm not trying to do that. I don't have plans to do that. Okay. So I'm going to make really clear. I don't have plans to do that. I am teaching at Shred 415, or that's my plan. If I pass my test out class and stuff, but that's the path that I'm walking now, which is like a boot camp style class. But if I ever do want to teach cycling again, it's not going to be with CycleBar because it can't be in my area unless I move. So, 2 hours in every direction, there's nowhere for me to go. So, teaching cycling is my bread and butter. It's my sweet spot. It's my craft, my skill set. And if I'm going to do that again, I have to consider what that looks like and how I'm going to be able to make that happen for myself. So like I said, no real plans at this point in time to go teach cycling anywhere. I have like I feel like a complicated relationship with cycling given my history and my past, and need to unpack that with a therapist or maybe on the podcast. I don't know. But yeah, so that's not my plan right now. So my plan is to work with my husband and my father-in-law and the other people at their business, the Appliance Gallery in Dayton. If you're in the area and you need appliances, come see us. And to focus on Shred 415. So excited for this new modality that I'm teaching, and to pursue my passions, continue the podcast, continue small amounts of coaching, confidence coaching, workshops, what that looks like, pageantry, public speaking engagements, those little things. So that is where she's headed, folks. One thing that I want to make really, really clear is that I'm so grateful. I am so grateful for my time with CycleBar. I have no bad feelings. There is no bad blood for me. Like I'm sad that things have ended the way they have for me, only because if I had a studio, there was like more action for me, like in other ways, like I don't think I would leave. So I'm sad that it kind of has like fizzled out a little bit for me, but I regret nothing. I had the time of my life. I learned so much. I want to see CycleBar succeed. I want to see my fellow teammates succeed. I want to see the studios that are open succeed. And I will always be a CycleBar fan and wish everyone with the brand the best. And I cannot wait to continue to follow everyone's journey. If I have trained you, please keep posting, sharing, tag me in things. If I got to teach with you, if I got to ride with you, like whatever capacity, like I'm here to continue to live in your glory of it all, and can't wait just to see how things continue to unfold. So that's my little life update. It's good, folks. I feel good. I feel really good. I feel complete. Feels like that chapter has ended on a good note. So with that, I hope you have a really, really great day. Don't be afraid to let go if it's time to let go. Have a good day. You deserve it.